What's up guys, it's Braden with Overland Outfitters again with another Frequently Asked Friday. So let's get faffing about. Here we go. Today we want to look at wheel specs and how they affect the performance and the looks of your truck. The wheels and tires, they both use the silliest concoction of just millimeters and inches, just all mushed into this ball of confusing and ridiculous measurements. So we're gonna use this video to just wrap our heads around how exactly those measurements all work on the wheels. We'll do the tires in another video, which I'll link above when I get to it. So for wheels, we have 4 main measurements that are used. You have offset, backspace, width, and diameter. Wheel diameter is just simply the measurement across the face of your wheel. For off-road, you want to make sure that you're getting as much tire as you possibly can. So the taller the sidewall, the better, because you have more room for wrapping the tire around rocks and more traction. You get a little bit more suspension as well from that when you air down the tire compressing. On street, it would be the opposite. You want less rubber to a certain point so that the tire doesn't deflect as much going around tight corners. But because we're focused on off-road, that's what we're more concerned about here. So we try and fit the smallest wheel we possibly can for the tire size. That said, you need to choose a wheel that's going to fit your vehicle. Not all vehicles are the same, so the brakes and caliper setup and how they fit into the back of the wheel matters a lot. Because we mostly work on Toyotas in our shop, if you have a Tacoma, then some 16-inch rims will fit, but not all. And then 17-inch and bigger for sure will fit. With a 4Runner, you have to go 17-inch or bigger. The width is, as you would think, the width of the of the wheel. I don't know how else to say it, but basically you want to choose a wheel width that is appropriate for the tire width that you're going with. You don't want a rim that is too wide, otherwise the bead can pop off really easy. And you don't want to go with a rim that's too narrow because it will change the tire profile, giving you worse traction. And if it's really too narrow, then the bead can also pop off. Going with the Toyota theme, we typically recommend an 8.5-inch wide rim that will fit most 33s and 35s. You can go a little wider or a little narrower, depending on the tires as well. It makes a big difference. So backspace is a little bit more complicated. Basically, I mean, it's not that complicated. But you have your wheel mounting surface, which is right here. That's where your wheel mounts to your vehicle. And then it's the measurement from that to the back face of your wheel. Backspace is probably the most important measurement for fitting a wheel on your vehicle, because if your backspace is too high, then the wheel will contact parts of your suspension or brakes. Whereas if your backspace is too low, it'll push the outside of your wheel really far out, which might look cool to some people, but it increases your scrub radius, which means your tire is gonna be more likely to rub on the back and front of your fender wheel well, as well as your firewall. I typically would recommend somewhere between a 4 and 4 3/4 inch backspace, but some people like to really have that stance, so they would go something like a 3.5-inch backspace, which will really push your tire outside of your vehicle and give you that poke. Finally, we have offset. That's simply the difference between the center line of your wheel and the wheel mounting surface. So offset is one of the only measurements, one of 2, that is in millimeters for some reason. We all know that the metric system is way better, but to mix and match is just... But basically, a negative offset is gonna push the wheel mounting surface inboard of the center line of your vehicle, pushing your wheel out, whereas a positive offset will push the wheel mounting surface outside of the vehicle, pushing the wheel in. It's a little bit confusing, but I think once you grasp it, it's pretty straightforward. The final 2 measurements are simply hub spacing and your lug spacing. This is gonna depend on your vehicle. So you can get lug spacing in either millimeters or inches. For a Toyota, you're wanting a 6 by 139.7. Other vehicles might use 5 lugs, or they might use 8 lugs, or whatever. Your hub spacing or bore would be the size of the hole in the center of the rim, and that's gonna depend on your vehicle and what's gonna fit over your hub. That's the basics of wheel fitment. Let me know in the comments what you prefer, backspace or offset, tire poke or tires being flush or inside of your wheel well, metric or standard. I wanna know, so hit me up and make sure you like this video if it was helpful at all. And you know what, if it wasn't helpful and you didn't like it, hit the thumbs up anyway. Make sure you subscribe if you want to see any more of these videos, and I hope I see you in the next one. That was